why we do what we do, why you're here, what this information is about, why it's important to you, why it's important to your families, and why you must get a comprehension of what it is, why it is, and why we present it as we're presenting it so it can empower you. It is not the age of followers now. Are we clear? This is the age of liberation. The age of priesthood, imams, preachers, reverends, rabbi, sheikhs, etc. is dead with the Piscean age. You're now in the Aquarian age, what Prophet Muhammad, Yeshua, and the other prophets told you about. It is the time for you to become high priest unto yourselves. Therefore, the secrets that have been maintained by the priesthood across the board, whether Islam, Judaism, so-called Christianity, Buddhism, etc., is to be delivered to the common man. The priesthood must be removed, and they must remove the shackles that they put on humanity. Are we clear? This is why you're given this information. And understand that all the energies, all the healing, all of the fundamental truths that's in the universe is already in you. It just needs to be turned on. Also keep in mind that the masses never got religion and don't get religion. The masses have always been given dogmata, which is counterfeit, which is why you see so much secularism, schism, and so many different versions in the name of religion, in all the religions, for the purpose of creating confusion, death, hatred, division, sickness, destruction. And they all hide behind Allah, Jesus, Moses, whatever flavor of ice cream the masses need. However, or will accept, just put it that way. So, go ahead.
I just want to let y'all know, Dr. Rafiq is going to set up in the back.
Yeah.
And he'll be available for consultations. Anybody that got any health issues, any aches or ailments, you can see Dr. Rafiq in the back. He got a whole ton of herbs back there. He can do a couple little tests on you and all that, just so y'all know he'll be in the back. Duration of the class.
All right. So take notes, you all. The interest is to get you to a level of thinking responsibly for yourselves and for your families. And I repeat, this is not the age of followers. This is the age of liberation. Think accordingly. When you come to these classes, please bring papers and pens, take notes, prepare questions, etc. Some tools that you may need in the future, from literature. Wise, keep this in mind too, everybody. Law and history goes together. They never were separate. They've been separated by the priesthood in order for social, economic, political controls of humanity. Are we clear? But all PhDs, all philosophers, all imams, all reverends, all master masons, all members of Skull and Bones, all Kaiklos, all White Union, all White Camellia, all Knights of Malta, all Daughters of American Revolution. Every secret society knows and always knew who you are and why they wear that Moorish fez in their secret rituals across the planet. The land is Morocco. The European foreign corporation that has been operating here under European colonial operations pretending to be the country is actually the Jesuit order under the Spanish Inquisition, which is the Inquisition against the Moors and Yahudi, both of whom are you, loosely referred to as Saracens, Muslims, etc., Africans. People of Canaanite, Moabite blood, of whom you are the direct descendants, and they have been feeding on you for generations. This is why it's necessary for them to have promoted belief systems, which is poison, mental poison, and told you it was religion. While the priesthood, the imams, and the reverends, most of them belong to secret lodges and get the truth. So don't you ever forget that when Prophet Muhammad was on the scene, they ran him out of Mecca. Don't ever get it twisted. When Yahshua was on the scene, they ran him out and they murdered them all and altered the books for their selfish selves and created a bunch of secularisms in order to leech off of you, and the priesthood made up the devil system for control purposes. They themselves don't fear the devil. Why? Because it's their creation. So they don't tell you about the higher self and the lower self and how that functions. Are we clear? That's another lesson, but our immediate issue right now, because the civilized world has come together for purposes of their own economic and political salvation and have begun to dismantle the bond system set up by the dark priesthood. And they're generally referred to the civilized world as UST bonds. That's your bondage. Not a chain, it's the bondage. It involves human trafficking. They're backed by birth certificates, marriage certificates, original manufactured titles of origins on all the vehicles you have out there that you think is yours. The dead pledges, which means mortgage. Contract is dead and you've been the pledge. And it's always been that way. And the priesthood have been getting a skull and bones kickback in the mosques, churches, and synagogues, and it's called a 501c3 kickback agreement with Rome. And so Rome pays them, and the dummies pay them, who think they love Jesus, God, Allah, Moses, Muhammad. And they've been playing the masses, all of them. And all of them are guilty. Some of them play more innocent than the others. All of them are guilty. Our job is to expose them and to liberate you. Do what you will with this information, but it is your birthright. Do you understand that? All right? Understand? It's not ours. Anybody got this information are just simply channels to share it with your brothers and sisters, and it's also your duty. We want for our brothers and sisters what we want for ourselves. And we are our brothers' keepers. Therefore, knowing that the priesthood is the devil, and that's the truth, tell it like it is. And if it rocks their boat, they better get some patches. Anyway, this is to just give you an overview. I know most of you are scholars, most of you have some background, but we all always know that there's new people that come through, and we want to bring everybody up to snuff so that, you know, it's not over your head. Yet it's not over anybody's head. It's just that you may need reference points, because for things to make sense to you, you have to know what we're talking about. Do you understand? And because we only have a few hours, we'll try to condense it and make it as effective as we can. All right? Now, what we have on the board here is a general condensation of world political structure. Meaning that, like, if I took this board to China right now, and we're talking to heads of government, they'd know exactly what I'm talking about. Same thing anywhere on any continent on the planet. Problem that you have when you come amongst the common people, they think this is some kind of belief system. Or just some opinion with some conscious Moors. You know, that's that Moorish stuff. They have a tendency to say that. But the whole world got this information. And all your leader guys got this information too. So don't you ever doubt it because they don't talk about this, that they don't know this. Because most of them get kickbacks from keeping this information from you. That's why they don't talk on this level. They'll start talking about racism and prejudice and human beings are crayons and which color are you and it don't matter what color you are. Those are diversionary arguments. It's not what's wrong with you. That is a control system of false connotative linguistic to keep you busy and make you think that you're solving something when you're really not, when they've been living off your birthrights and they're a bunch of vampires. Across the board. So this is designed to go to the heart of their straw. Do you understand? And we suggest that you kind of look even between the lines and look at mission of the purpose of this creation, of why this is being exposed to you, and take it from there and go into the deepest recesses of your own cell memory and come up with some more security and enforce this to a greater degree. So this is like, say this is elementary. All right, so if you understand the elements, you can take it to the next degree, which is the desire as to why we're giving you this information. Now, the foundation of world politics in the modern contemporary world is the Spanish Inquisition. How many people are familiar with that? Raise your hand. I'm talking about really familiar with it, not just that you heard about it. I want you to look around the room and look at the hands that are raised and look at the hands that are not raised and recognize how much trouble we're in. Because this is what's been affecting you. It's also the necessity as to why they maintain secret societies. Because those who govern and rule must know what's really going on, distinguished from the followers, believers, bill payers. Are we clear? It's a whole different class. It's an artificial class. Believership, bill payers, serfs, slaves are all in the same category on the world stage. Are we clear? The prophets came to remove you or give you the opportunity to step out of that lower caste that was created by the priesthood. That's why they always murder them or run them out of Mecca, that type of thing. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And when anyone tells the truth, this is why they always murder them. Because the priesthood is the demon. And they usually stand behind a pulpit. And they don't even hide it. They just know that most of you can't read. Anyway, so the Spanish Inquisition is the Inquisition by the bishopric of Rome to conquer the ancient Canaanites, Moabites, founders of civilization. And they refer to themselves as the conquerors of civilization. And you are the direct descendants of those founders of civilization, which is why you've been the target. It ain't racism, it's not prejudice. It's an old pact from the priesthood, the dark priesthood, to destroy civilization on the planet. This is the root of what they call the Punic Wars. Write that down so that you can do some cross-reference as what I'm presenting to you so that you can understand the politics. And from the Punic Wars, you go up to what they call the Christian Crusades. Then you go up to the Battle of Tours near Poitiers, France. On up to even Lake Michigan, 1812, etc., with the defeat of the Moorish Navy. And all your modern wars. And contrary to what you've been told, many of those wars took place in the Western Hemisphere. You've been told they were all in the East. It is not so. The other issue is that you're home, Dorothy. You just bumped your head. This is a short instrument on a single page. Some of you have it already. It's by the Clearfield Doctrine. But I'm going to give you just a little synopsis on it after we finish this, but keep this in mind. Because this is what's functioning in society. To enforce that Spanish Inquisition, the Christian nations, and understand we're not talking like spirituality, we're talking politics. Do you understand? And Christianity doesn't have anything to do with Yeshua, who they renamed as Jesus when they altered the books. There is no J in Aramaic. And the one they called Jesus spoke Aramaic. And when he entered the room, he would greet the people, Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you. The same Jesus they talk about in the church, but will deny his true culture. So don't get it twisted, he wasn't Christian. Are we clear? That's Constantine and his mother. You get the point? The one they called Jesus was Yahudi, he was Muslim. And those are degrees of knowledge. Are we clear? And Muslim means It comes from Musliman, means that which woman from her womb by divine law produces, and that is muscles, tissues, bone, hair structured into the body of the clay that she absorbs from her surroundings. That's a Muslim. It's like a fetus. It's not a belief system. It is divine nature and the creation of man from the womb of woman. That's the truth. So don't get that twisted either. And don't get spooky. You need not be. The secret treaty of Verona, conjoined with the Spanish Inquisition, is the agreement of the Roman nations to divide up the spoils of the Asiatic nation as they conquered. Are we clear? And for your information, said in Article 3 is really, in the secret treaty of Verona, is the oath that the clergy has to the Pope, not to Jesus. And understand it's in the congressional record too, for those who would deny it, because they know that most of our people don't read or haven't been educated, so they don't really understand the politics. And so when they meet these clergy, etc., they be thinking they're talking about Jesus, God, Allah, Moses, Muhammad, and they're actually working for Rome. This is why we have not solved any problems in our communities. Are we clear? And the reason the people can't heal is because they're dealing with belief systems and not with knowledge. True religion deals with knowledge. Dogmata is where belief resides. If you're a believer, you got dogma. If you got knowledge, you're a Gnostic. That's religion. It's not an attack, it's just the truth. It's time for you to graduate and grow up and put away your childish things and start solving the problems of humanity on this planet. And beliefs ain't going to get it. Knowledge is. Knowing that the priesthood is corrupted, we're going to one of their blood straws and giving you some information so that you can kind of obstruct the straw. You know, kind of hard for vampires to suck when you put a little bit of crazy glue in the blood a little bit. Stuff gets stuck. Understand this. Coming into the contemporary venue of the world so that you can understand your politics now. Your doctrine of discovery, which the Pope Francis so-called made this recent treaty with representatives around the world, ending the Christian doctrine of discovery, that's their genocide policy that the people are talking about, oh, it's white supremacy stuff, and they just don't like the black man, and all that kind of dizzy crap. That's controlled language given to their overseers to keep you busy. So as soon as they come out with that black stuff, understand that's overseer language for controlling you. But those people who promote that don't believe that themselves. That's what Malcolm found out. That's why they murdered him. Rome and their own brotherhood murdered him. Because they have this knowledge too. Always did. A few pieces of silver. Yeah. Now that's the truth. Handle it. Christian Black Code 1724, adopted in all the corporate states in the Western Hemisphere after this is after the King James, in honor of King James, who did the transliterations of the Book of the Dead, the Septuaginta, etc., and created what is known as the Bible for the dummies that has misguided the world. Are we clear? The book itself is not wrong, it's just that the people are not given the code to it. Are we clear? So for your own study, just tell you the truth. Quran, Bible, Oahspe, the Vedas, Hexatah, Pentateuch, etc. All of those books are entirely Kabbalistic. And if the imams, preachers, reverends don't tell you that and give you the foundation of them, you will not decode them books and you will become their slave. That's what has been happening. That's why the world's in trouble. Are we clear? So we're just exposing some of their keys. So don't get spooked by them. And they don't have no special phone line to Jesus, God, Allah, and Muhammad. No more than you do. But they do have a bank account where they put Jesus as half that you keep giving them, and they take Susie to Bahamas every summer with Jesus as half. Anyway, So the Christian Black Codes is what is used as a guide point for all municipal government personnel. Your so-called governors are CEOs for the territorial jurisdictions under the Vatican Roman Curia. Roman Curia, write that down, get familiar with it. All your corporate entities are party members to the Roman Curia. That's C-U-R-I-A, Roman Curia. And all those Roman Curia come under what they know as the corpse that they created when they closed the Freedmen's Bureau. Now, as you know, we have limited space here, so therefore some things that I would have put on the board are not there. However, understand with the Freedmen's Bureau that was set up in 1865, this is after Lincoln had done the Emancipation Proclamation in 1862, and the Deputy Knights adjusted it, modified it, reissued it in 1863, pulled it back, adjusted it, modified it, and then reissued it in 1865, and it was pretty much neutered because they would have had to recolonize you back between the Rocky Mountains and the Allegheny Mountains, and then that's where you got your 40 acres and the mule thing from, the 3630 parallel issue with limited information. And so they bumped Lincoln off, killed that, and then they created the corpse ens legis. That means the dead to the living ens legis by the stroke of a pen. That's what the 14th Amendment is. They set that up in 1865, 1868. 1868, they created the corpse. So the corpse is the 14th Amendment. And this is where they registered all Christian property that happened to be human as cattle. And they changed it into French so that people aren't offended. So in French, it's called chattel. And then code-wise, it's called the man of straw. Or like the straw man that you see in the Wizard of Oz, that's the 14th Amendment. That's you. In the colored state. That's why they created the brands called Negro, Black, and Colored, which remove the people of Moabite, Canaanite blood from the human family and makes them in law not descendable. Because to have descendability, you must remain in the honor of your mothers and fathers. And if you cannot know your mothers and fathers, you can't know yourself, and you can't claim the bloodline, and therefore you're not descendable, therefore by law are held as wards of the state and are not descendable. Then reclassified as children, technically called minorities. And then you have your Negro leader guys whose job it is to convince the people that that means Afrocentric identity. And as soon as you cling to it, you lost your birthright. That's what your black leader's job is to do, to make you think that that's Afrocentricity. And they get kickback and $3,000 suits and nice little mansions and stuff at the expense of the believers. And then give them whatever flavor Jesus, God, Allah, Moses, Muhammad they desire, while their children are dying on the street younger and younger, and their families are all broke up with all of their salvation and belief that they can't do a damn thing with. Anyway, and so the Buck Act, etc., and all the other ens legis is related. So when you see any of these, you're simply looking at the Spanish Inquisition. Are we clear? Now, in 1861, for those of you who know, let me just give you a preliminary for those who don't know. How many of you understand what Obama was saying when he went to Hicupta and exposed that the American Constitution is derived from Muslim law? How many people understood the Masonic message that he was sending? Raise your hand. Everybody look around.